We have a massive NBA slate today. The question will be, will we get the props that we want on this slate available by lineup lock? We'll see. We'll go through the process. Also going to touch on some Masters prop bets. We have a free square on Underdog that I'm going to give you guys a pretty strong bet with, I think. And we have some MLB props as well. Let's get into it. All right, so right now what's out there is going to be this bet right here. Cameron Young, okay? He just needs to play a hole to get the overstrokes. That's a free square. And so with that, I actually do like Zvi over 29.5 fantasy points. And if we look at PrizePicks, it's going to be basically the exact same one. Now, what do I like about this prop? It's going to be the fact that they get a great matchup against Houston. Okay, Houston has been a team that we've been wanting to target. And if we just look at his game log, 3 out of the last 4 games, he's been able to get the over. And then the one game he didn't get the over, it was still pretty close. Like, we'll take that. Now, we do have a big 11-game slate, and, you know, some more stuff might open up throughout the day, but this was the best one right now. And that's going to be because we can see they're going to be without PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, potentially Mark Williams. They're going to be without Gordon Hayward, and also potentially Dennis Smith Jr. Now, it is a situation in which if Dennis Smith Jr. plays, that does hurt this prop. Okay, it's basically the exact same situation that we've been in kind of the last couple of nights, where if a player plays, that could really hurt a prop that we have. In this situation, it's Dennis Smith Jr. Obviously, that is post or the tail end of the season NBA DFS right there. It's both who is questionable that could play and who is out, and then who should we target because of that. That's kind of the nature of the beast today. Now, I do want to touch on some other props that you could also use with that Underdog free square. So I'm going to look at some PGA props real quick. So I just want to use strokes as an example. And right now, if we look at the weather report, and let's go by hourly, we see at about 3 to 4 p.m., there's the potential for thunderstorms. It's really expected. And if that happens, that's going to mean that potentially tomorrow, those golfers are going to have to finish their rounds that are going to be starting later than the golfers that are currently on the course. Currently on the course, it's playing pretty easy. But if it gets delayed until tomorrow and it is windier, okay, if it gets above 14 mile per hour winds, that's when the course starts to play more difficult. When it gets over 15 mile per hour winds, that's when we see, or the data says that, all right, the scoring goes up increasingly at that point. And so if that happens, these strokes that we are getting might be too low. If that doesn't happen, if the thunderstorm doesn't come and the players are able to finish their round 2 today, then these are way too high. It's very strange in that sense. So it is a situation in which we could just bet all the unders here on PrizePicks. And then if we go to Underdog, we'll see that they're kind of overvaluing some of these golfers as well. And a good example of that would be Jon Rahm. They have it set at 69.5. And this is like the exact same situation that I used for the props for PGA, the prop video that I did for that, where on Underdog, it seemed like we were getting a good edge there, but we had no idea how the course was going to play. So I suggested, all right, we got 3 props here where we are seeing a price line difference, a prop different. I'm going to bet the unders on this site and bet the overs on the other site, and I'm guessing one of them are going to be correct. That's what happened. Okay, on Underdog, all of them missed, which meant on PrizePicks, all of them hit. And so that is something we could potentially do. It's kind of a way to hedge it. And I'm saying that because the weather kind of suggests that it's either going to be really easy to score if the thunderstorms don't come, or it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so it's a solid way to hedge that. So we can see Jon Rahm here, 65.5. What's another one that we're getting? Cameron Smith. We can see 71 on PrizePicks, 71.5 on Underdog, which is actually the reverse of Jon Rahm's prop, which is kind of strange. Another one, Victor Hovland, 71 on PrizePicks, 70.5 on Underdog. So once again, we could do higher on Underdog and lower on Prize. Same thing with Xander. Same thing with Keegan. Actually, on Underdog, they have that a little bit higher. This is weird, kind of some of the discrepancies there. We can see there's definitely an opportunity, though. Half a stroke is a lot. It just is. And preferably on Underdog, I don't like to chase even numbers like this. Wow. Look at this, guys. Holy crud. What? Patrick Reed, 72. This is pretty crazy. So this is an opportunity for us. We are seeing Patrick Reed, 72 strokes. Okay, we can see Underdog has it set 73. This is a situation in which, and I don't love Patrick Reed, to be honest with you. We could bet higher on PrizePicks and under on Underdog. And then we could do that with another golfer like Jon Rahm. Like if we think that this number is too low or too high, we could bet the lower. Like that, a full stroke difference, that is huge. That does not happen. I'm really shocked that we are getting that. Fred Couples as well. That's starting right now. Never mind with Fred Couples. I probably want to touch. Very interesting there with Patrick Reed. full stroke. And it could be one of those situations where maybe you take insurance, maybe you do a flex, because we are seeing there's some big edges there. Half a stroke and a full stroke with Patrick Reed. All right, now I touched on that enough. I think you guys kind of get it. Let's go and get into some MLB props, and now I'll get back into NBA. And just for what it's worth, I guess, real quickly, we do see birdie or better too. We are getting about a half there as well. Tiger 3, 2.5 on PrizePicks. Yep. Patrick Cantlay 4 on PrizePicks, 3.5 on Underdog. So once again, if the course plays easy, he should be able to get 4 birdies. If it plays difficult, it's going to be very tough to get 5 birdies, okay? Which is kind of what's nice. All right, now that's enough. Let's get into MLB. So MLB-wise, we can see we don't have the best props just yet. I don't know if we're going to get them. We'll see. The best one that we are going to get, Jonah over 0.5 bases. Okay, pretty much getting a hit. Minus 137.25. That's the best one that we are getting. And let's see if we have any ones that are not matching up. Odds-wise, nothing too spectacular here. We are getting a 0.5 difference here. Okay, the average sportsbook line has Kyle Schwarber. Total base is set at 1. Basically as a push there. And PrizePicks has it set at 0.5. Like, that's a decent one. We are getting some other ones out there, but now we're starting to get to where the over odds are being favored. So probably don't want to touch those too much. Okay, now let's go ahead and get to the NBA props, because I find this extremely interesting, the slate that we have. So I'm just going to sort by all, and using DraftKings, we can see there are so many players injured or out and whatnot, so many questionable takes, which for DFS purposes, DraftKings FanDuel is awesome. Okay, if you guys want some kind of DraftKings related knowledge, FanDuel related knowledge, be on the Occupy Fantasy live stream at about 3:15 Central Standard Time today. That's a YouTube channel that I'm a part of for NBA DFS content. I put out a video yesterday basically applying everything I suggested in this video for NBA, like Isaiah Mobley. That was a prop that we didn't get, and just like all that stuff, I was able to apply it to DraftKings, because with PrizePicks, we don't exactly know if they are going to give us those props, right? And so I do want to touch on some situations that we have here. So right off the bat, I am getting excited about the opportunity to stack potentially Charlotte versus Houston. And I'm curious, the game over and under here, 4.5, that is great. 229 over and under, I will take that, especially on this slate. That's going to be a pretty high over and under game total. Okay, this is a game that, like, on paper, we want to be attacking. And I would say the props that we are getting are all a little bit too low, especially given the matchup. Sengun against Charlotte, against Biggs, like, that's a matchup we've been attacking the whole time. Now, I mentioned here, if he doesn't get the over, it's literally going to be because Dennis Smith Jr. is probably active, or he just has a terrible night shooting. Both can go hand in hand too, right? Like, he does still have the chance to get there if Dennis Smith Jr. plays. It just decreases the likelihood. You know, it's a different role, a different mindset. It just happens. That's NBA, right? But he has been someone that has been playing a ton of minutes, 34, 33, 34, 37, 33. So we should be able to bank on those minutes being there. The question is, how efficient will he play? Well, I would argue this is going to be his best matchup other than OKC, right? Like, literally hasn't played in a better matchup other than OKC. Toronto, difficult. Chicago, obviously not exactly one you're attacking. Dallas, really not exactly one you would be attacking either. And so finally gets a good matchup. I would say most nights with Dennis Smith Jr. off the court, he does get there. But that's kind of where I like it as a game stack. Like, we got that one. Could potentially do Jabari Smith if you want to. Obviously, he does get a good matchup. And then I really don't mind Jalen Green and also Kevin Porter Jr. Okay, that's KJ Martin. I don't mind that. And I'd never really like to do Green and Porter Jr. together, but this does seem like an opportunity in which we can. I'll show you guys here on the 9-to-5 PrizePicks cheat sheet here. And it's early, like these are the best props that we were getting. But let's look here. 36.6. So we round up 137. That's kind of the magic number that I like to shoot for. Kevin Porter Jr. over 4.5 rebounds. We can see that is a decent prop that is popping up for us, projected to get 5.3 or so. 5.5. Sorry. Guys, the secondary screen that I'm looking at is small. That's why I sometimes mess up when we're staring at a laptop all day too. Kind of just, your eyes do some weird things. I'm sure you guys have experienced that. But looking at all the metrics that we use would suggest that you should be able to get over. Lately, he has been getting the over as well, I believe. Let's just go ahead and double check that. Oh, apparently not. 3 the last few games. That is interesting. Let me go back a little bit further. Okay, has he just been too efficient with the basketball lately? Okay, this was the stretch I was referring to. 9, 0, 3, 6, 10, 5, 5, 4, 9, 6. That's the stretch I was referring to, kind of when he first came back. Yeah, it's strange that he hasn't been over lately. I guess a few bigs, maybe. Detroit kind of running out 2 bigs, Duren and Wiseman. Obviously, Lakers with AD, Denver with Jokic. You know, that could potentially be why. But also Sengun, I believe his rebounds have been up lately. So let's just double check that. Yeah, his rebounds have been up. So I would say if you're betting Kevin Porter Jr. over rebounds, then we are not doing that for Sengun. Like, I would say those don't really correlate too well. If Sengun's going to have a good game like he's had, then probably Kevin Porter Jr. is not getting over 4.5 rebounds. But at the same time, like, he is probably due to have a big rebound game, just simply given the fact that he hasn't had that 3 straight games. You know, just regression back to the mean and a positive. But let's see here. That's just the best bet that we're getting. But if we look at where we are getting kind of some pricing discrepancies, we can see here that maybe points and assists versus Vi, maybe points and rebounds, we can see there's a slight discrepancy there. And if he does get those projected minutes, and let's see here, 32, yeah, if he does get those minutes, he should be able to get over. Like, he should be able to crush. And so he's a player that I really don't mind. Then we also get Kevin Porter Jr. points and rebounds. That's kind of a way to hedge that bet a little bit. Sangoon points and assists, and we can see we are gaining a 0.5 edge on the prop line there, and that's fair at -115. Jalen Green also a slight edge there. And so that is why on paper this looks like one of the better stacking opportunities that we are getting. Points and rebounds, a 0.5 difference, slightly favored for the over there for Jalen Green. So it's kind of easy to spot that is going to be a good game to stack. Now, it does really depend on the injury news. I want to make this very clear. That is the most difficult part about giving content, especially for PrizePicks right now, because if we make a bet, we can't withdraw it unless someone like gets injured, right, and is inactive. And because we're just not getting that news, it is more difficult to really tell you guys who we should be going in on. Now, I will say, yesterday I thought Orlando would be a good team to stack. Maybe we can potentially do that tonight as well. I don't know if Brooklyn has anything to play for. Can they clinch a playoff spot tonight? That's weird that they haven't yet. Yeah, that's weird that they don't have an X next to their name. Okay, so apparently they do have something to play for tonight. So that would mean I think we could stack these guys. Maybe Dinwiddie, maybe Claxton, maybe Mikal Bridges. And that's the thing, like with Brooklyn, we can typically hit 3 out of 5. The question is which 3, right? That's the most difficult part. Is it going to be Cameron Johnson? Is it going to be DFS? Is it going to be Claxton? Is it going to be Bridges? I really don't mind the idea of just betting all of them over, and you know, maybe we get super lucky, but at the same time, we should be able to 2x if we are able to hit it as a run back. And obviously, we don't have any props for Orlando just yet, because Orlando, they ruled out all their starters last game. And I don't believe, they're not going to play tonight as well. So that's going to mean someone like Cole Anthony could be someone we are potentially looking at. Jalen Suggs as well, probably someone we're going to be looking at. And then what I found interesting was yesterday, and I just missed out on getting this prop. I'm coaching some spring football right now, so I wasn't able to get this prop out there. Like, literally, it was made available during the time I was at practice. And so Bobo over fantasy points would have been a decent one. Actually, I don't know if he got there because 4 turnovers is a lot. So we'll have to just kind of see where this one comes out at. I wouldn't mind it in a game stack, though. Maybe we could do points and rebounds if it's made available as well. 8 and 18, not terrible. But it'll just be interesting to see kind of what we get there. And the other Wagner is out as well. So he's typically a guy that we would target in a situation like this, but he is also going to be out. Detroit, I'll be curious to see where we get for Jalen Duren. And what's very frustrating with them right now with their bigs is, one, if Bagley plays, we can't touch any of them. But they're kind of capping Wiseman's minutes at 30, and they're capping Duren's at like 35. Good thing is Duren's getting those minutes. And so be curious to see if they come out with a line, and if they do, where those lines come out. We don't have those just yet. So Halliburton is still going to be out tonight, but that's kind of it. Like, I still don't mind Andrew Nembhard as an option for tonight's slate. He has been having a lot of assists lately, and that's kind of expected with his per 36 numbers. But yeah, they're not giving us a prop, I don't believe, for him just yet. Yeah, it's just Benedict Mathurin, which Mathurin has stepped up into a bigger role. If you wanted to use him in a game stack with Detroit, once those props are made available, I don't mind that. And some of you are probably going to ask, well, how do you feel about like Hayes or Ivy? Hayes, I'm probably staying away from. Ivy, I guess I wouldn't mind in a game stack against Indy. That would be a good matchup there as well. So like right now, we could do Ivy and maybe Mathurin over. But I think the best stack is going to be this Houston, because obviously they get a good matchup, and then maybe the potential for some Charlotte stacks that we get out there. But that's kind of the trouble, guys. I wish I could like go in on more information for you guys, but it's the prop board that's available. And I know yesterday I said, there's the potential I could do another video. I would say today would be more likely, but we will see, because there's more games. Yesterday was just a 5-game slate, and literally the props were made available, like the good props that we got were made available a half an hour before lineup lock. So we'll see. Obviously don't control when the board comes out, don't control the board. So we'll see. With that, no bet of the day, I would say my favorite bets are going to be stacks. Once again, just Houston and Charlotte. Right now, this seems too low. Ivy seems too low. And then I don't mind doing a Orlando versus Brooklyn stack as well, depending on the Orlando props that we get. But that's all going to be for today's video. Take advantage of that Underdog free square. If you guys haven't signed up for Underdog just yet, click the link in the description below. That bounces some money back my way once you guys use that 100% match up to $100 promo code bonus. So it's a way to help out the channel as well. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cash.